What if I told you that hyperbitcoinization is playing out right in front of our eyes and that one of the biggest puzzle pieces has just fallen into place? What if our time is running out because the big boys are finally waking up to the truth? I think by the end of this video, you're going to be more than willing to move your fiat into Bitcoin. Strap in and let's get on it. The start of this story is this post by Bitcoin Culture on Twitter, where they've found that BlackRock, Bank of America, and Fidelity are clearly waking up to the fact that Bitcoin is what it promises to be. In my previous video, I mentioned that Michael Saylor from Microstrategy said that the best way for large institutional investors to hold Bitcoin right now was to buy Microstrategy stock, because their mandates might not allow them to hold Bitcoin directly, but they can hold stocks and ETFs. And right now, Microstrategy holds about $4 billion of Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Now let's look at the top 10 owners of MicroStrategy right now. We've got BlackRock Fund Advisors. We've also got Bank of America Securities. And finally, we have Fidelity Management and Research. So clearly, some of the big banks have been buying massive amounts of MicroStrategy stock in the first quarter of 2023. Now the question you should be asking yourself is, why is MicroStrategy buying up so much Bitcoin? And then right after that, you should be asking yourself, why are these major institutions pouring millions of dollars into MicroStrategy stock? What's going on here and why is this important? Right now, we have major SEC blowback for the crypto space, and yet we have these guys pumping in millions. Now, some people looking at this might just see the surface details. The SEC is going after Coinbase and Binance, and they sell Bitcoin. So that must be bad, right? Wrong. The SEC has made themselves very clear that they're going after everything other than Bitcoin. They've made themselves crystal clear that Bitcoin is a commodity and that they're going after them for selling everything else which is an unregistered security, which is an SEC violation. So what you might now be asking is, what does Michael Saylor and these industry titans see that the masses are missing? These titans want one thing and one thing only: a great return on their capital. But they might not have the expertise, the knowledge, or even the mandate to get into Bitcoin directly. But they've seen what MicroStrategy is doing and they're willing to put skin in the game. To date, Bank of America have increased their stake in MicroStrategy by 48,500% in the first quarter of 2023, which means they now own 2.37% of all MicroStrategy stock. And just remember that Bank of America is the second largest US bank. BlackRock, that titan with $10 trillion under management, has acquired a full 6% of MicroStrategy stock. Fidelity, another big boy with $4.5 trillion in assets under management, has gone up to 1%, which is a 28,000% increase in 2023. Now, if you've been doing some mental math, you'll see that these three collectively own about 10% of MicroStrategy stock. BlackRock has 6.24, BOA has 2.37, and Fidelity at the end has about 1%. The Canadians are also getting off the sidelines, with the sixth largest bank in Canada acquiring just over $500,000 of MSTR stock in 2023. What's going on here is that people whose very business models depend on moving money and managing money are seeing Bitcoin for what it truly is. You only ever make these type of moves if you really believe there's value here. What this means for us is that we should be paying attention to what they're doing, because if they're willing to act, where does that leave us? All I know is that I'll keep stacking sats. What are you gonna do? If you've liked this video up to now, please smash that like button and please leave a comment, as it really helps new channels to grow and helps me reach more people. Finally, I'm gonna leave you with some parting words from Michael Saylor. Until next time.
There's an acknowledgement that Bitcoin is the most secure computer network in the world. That's what people are beginning to realize. And as they realize this is the most secure computer network, then technologists are starting to realize that, well, if I wanted to store $1 billion on a network, then I want the most secure one. But if I wanted to send $1 billion from point A to point B, I want the most secure one. If I'm going to build any application on top of a network with a layer 2, if I'm going to do roll-ups or do DeFi, or if I'm going to do channels, like if I'm going to do payments, if I'm going to do any kind of inscription, any cybersecurity app, I'm going to want it on the most secure base layer and the one that's hardest to attack, and that's Bitcoin. So the outlook for Bitcoin as a technology has never been stronger, because most of the people in the crypto industry are realizing that their yo-yo token is not going to be a base layer for their innovation. And they're being driven to Bitcoin because they need a commodity and an ethically sound, technically sound asset. So there's a recognition and a migration there, and that's actually going to feed Bitcoin.